Hi guys, this is Luton and here we are on Altai Range on the Conquest Large map for the China Rising DLC. Now this map is massive, it's a very open one. It reminds you very much of, for example, Armored Kill, the DLC release for Battlefield 3. And I'm going to run you through the bases, positions and general overview of the map. So first up, this is the A base. US spawn is up over here on this side, RU down here. Let's just have a look. Here's the US spawn, as you can see. Start up over here, transport, heli, attack, heli, etc. And basically you come around the corner here and then we're straight on to this, the hillside position. Now this has a good overview of most of the map, but you can see straight away that this is a fairly barren, desolate map. It's vehicle heavy. There's just a lot of open space and not much. I mean, the distance, very much unlike the other maps like Silk Road and Dragon's Pass, the distance between the bases is quite significant, and it's the fact that there's very little in between. So looking at this one, hillside, if we go down the road here to the river crossing point, which is C on this base, this is C, the river crossing, you can see that pretty much between those, there's very little there. It's just open field, which makes it very difficult for infantry because it means you're just running in the open, and the time that it takes, and there's not much sort of going on in the meantime. Anyway, let's pass on up here. This is the main station up here. This is the weather station, or probably people will just refer to it as the radar station still, but it's the weather station. It's significantly bigger than the station for Damavand Peak. A lot of people will say, oh well, they've just cloned the tower from Damavand. Well, it's a radar base like we've seen in other maps, okay, like you see on Golmud, etc. But this is quite a massive installation. It's also the area for the TDM, okay, so this is where you will play TDM out all around this whole sort of location area. There's a lot of smaller sections within. This is the most significant area of the map, and I can imagine, very much like Hainan, you'll end up with a lot of people fighting it out in this area, probably just because it's a lot more interesting than most of the rest of the map. So this is probably going to be a very strong point for attacking. You can imagine, look, a lot of little positions for snipers and people to get in on here. You can imagine very much sort of people crossing over here, getting on these sniper positions, and then obviously look, it gives you an overlook down to the river crossing and the hillside over there. But again, there's a lot of different sort of areas that you can explore and look around in this area. Got a little helicopter in our map right here as well. Okay, so let's head on down this way. We'll go over here. This is the ruins, okay, this is the RU side, alright. So this is where you spawn RU up over here. There we are in the valley of the hills there. This is the first position you'll come to, is the ruins. And again, you may have some interesting infantry combat on here, but for the most part, it's just a small broken down wall area. It's quite exposed and sort of left apart there. Okay, and then I guess the last one to look at really, we've got two more on this side, is the village and then the helipad. So over here, this is the village, and it's just a very small collection of buildings here, not very much to speak of again. It's just a small selection of these kind of fairly standard wooden shack buildings. A little helicopter sweep past for us right here on this map. And if we follow the heli around, you'll see that we come up over here to the helicopter pad, and this is another base for us. You can see already that I'm getting, even though I've run my graphics sort of reasonable, and although it looks very good, you see, because of the scale of this map, I'm getting a little bit of pop-up. But once you're actually in-game, this is also because I'm on spectator, so it's rendering everything. When you're actually in-game, it plays out sort of very, very differently to that. So that's been this map. This is Altai. It's a very... oh, bad landing there, buddy. It's a very huge open map. Obviously I'm on Conquest Large here, so it's a little bit different depending on what game mode you play on. But the key issue really is just that there's very little in between each position on the base. So again, it makes it very vehicle heavy. But unlike Dragon Pass, because there's so little on this map, it just makes the areas in between bases quite boring. And out of the 4 maps that we get, this one plays out the worst for me. It's the one that I enjoyed the least. It's just because it's too open. There's very little there. You can imagine some of these... who's going to be first to get up here? This is the question. You know, nice sniper position for those who want it. It is actually pretty good because you can see like a lot of different positions from, you can see like the ruins, you can see the riverside, you can see the weather station, the helipad, the village, you can see it all from up here, but somebody's got to go mountain climbing to get up on this. But anyway, nonetheless, as I say, it's a big open map. It's going to suit some people more than others. If you like that kind of sort of point-to-point vehicle combat, this is going to be one that plays out well on that point. But for somebody who enjoys a bit more kind of gritty in the mix action, it doesn't play out quite so well. As I say, reminiscent much more of Armored Kill than some of the maps we've seen since, and I think for that reason it probably won't be the most popular map in the China Rising, but nonetheless it looks gorgeous like all the other maps, and it's quite an interesting one on some of the other game modes like Rush and TDM. Perhaps it just won't be the most interesting Conquest map. All the other ones coming up today, guys, so stay tuned for those. If you haven't watched them, go check them out on the channel, subscribe and like if you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time for some more Battlefield 4.